Good morning, all. CamelbackTrading.org coming to you this Monday morning, July 27th, and we're looking at the last day and a half of the SPY ETS market profile here on Window Trader. And after one time framing down for 2 days, the bulls are attempting to stop that on a gap, no less, to get into the lower distribution of our double distribution day from the 23rd and then attack the trend day. Couple of things. I think I have a feeling by the end of this week we're going to be saying to ourselves possibly what didn't happen in the market could possibly be just as important as what did. We have a lot happening in the market, but it's not going to take place until Wednesday afternoon and then Thursday after the close. You have the Fed Wednesday, and then we have Apple, Google, and Amazon earnings Thursday after the close. Now, I still think you've heard me on here that earnings haven't been the driver in this market, but those three stocks certainly have, so it's going to be something to be aware of. A lot of possibilities this week, right? The sellers finally stopped the one-time framing up in the daily. However, the monthly and weekly are still one-time framing. They need to take out Friday's low to stop the one-time framing down in the weekly. Well, as of this morning right now, it looks like the bulls are trying to defend that. So I wouldn't be surprised if we have light volume for the first couple of days of this week until the action really picks up. So let's go over destinations and a game plan for this morning. So for the upside, I'm still going to use everything I had because it's still over an hour to go, and I've been doing these videos a little earlier since my business has been growing and there's things I need to attend to. So, you want up-to-the-date info? Come and join us at CamelbackTrading.org. All right, upside destinations. 321.45, right? That was L's high, afternoon rally high. Then 321.99, Friday's high. Single prints that start at 323.60 get filled at 324.65 from July 23rd, and then 327.23, which is now a weekly high, and filling that huge gap at 332.58, a 535-point gap from February 24th. And that would be a monthly high if we don't get to that by the end of the week. Now, for the downside, I'll use yesterday's high in case we gap higher. Again, for the downside of 321.99. Then we had 11 wide, right? Buyers and sellers were happy to do business at 320.60. Friday's low of 319.25, which is a weekly low. 319.09, daily low, poor low, which the sellers had every opportunity to get on Friday and did not. And then that very, very important level of 317.67, which was the price probe from July 14th, which held very nicely. And so far, the bulls have defended. So game plan for this morning. Well, again, I won't be surprised if we have our average volume is down to 73.5 million. So it keeps decreasing. So until we get the catalyst on Wednesday and Thursday night, I wouldn't be surprised if the volume is going to be pretty light. You might get some attempts by either side to push, whether it's the, would you be surprised if we have an outside week down or an outside week up this week? I wouldn't, not at all. But I think the volume is going to be fairly light, at least to start the week. Now, if we are to gap higher, and it's a reasonable gap, you can say gap rules apply, but you know how I like to put everything in context, right? The higher the gap goes, the higher we're going to get to the upper end of the distribution, and then where the trend day was, where sellers were on the 23rd. So I don't think I'd want to be a buyer right up here because I think the sellers would possibly defend that. Plus, it's a visual spot because it's right where last month's high is, right? We also closed below last year's settlement, but right now we're just above it. So I have a feeling we're going to be battling both last year's settlement and last month's high a bunch this morning. So if we get a decent-sized gap where I have enough room to at least test last month's high, then I would take a call play out if the gap fills. The higher I open, the less likely I will take a call play. And if we get a taper off, I'd see if I take a put play to see if we at least come back and test the gap. Remember, the opening is going to be very important. Yes, we traded through it 10 out of 13 time frames on Friday. It was unresolved. But there's a many day where that opening is a great indicator for your direction for the day. So, if we open without a gap, again, there's no real play then, because odds are M period isn't, we're pretty far away from M. You know how we trade M. Obviously, if we get into M, we'll go back down to that 11 wide POC. But it's very early. Do I want to take a put play right here? Probably not. If you were to open, not take out Friday's high, you can take a put play and use Friday's high as your out to see if we get accepted back into L, and certainly M to get down to POC. But again, these are all early plays. A lot's going to be changing. The volume right now, pre-market, again, only 430,000. It's fairly light. Okay, let's go to the charts. So monthly, 1 week to go in the month. The bull's goal is to close above 323.41, which is last month's high, to keep getting distance away from previous month's high to show that their trend is still fairly young, and then attack the all-time high. Weekly, we had a very ugly finish to the week last week, right? You had a beautiful finish the week before, ugly one today. You're smack in the middle of this. We're back in the 8-week balance. Same thing. Bulls want to get above and get acceptance above 323.41 to go attempt to take out last week's high and get back into that gap, which you've barely put a dent in. And then on the daily, one-time framing down for 2 days, but I encompass this as an 8-day balance. If we take out Friday's low and continue, I will absolutely be calling it down then. If we're able to take out Friday's high, which right now we're attempting to do, we're firmly in balance. I'll tell you what, I have a feeling we're going to have a slow start to this week, but I'm going to say by Friday's close, we're either going to take out not only the weekly low, but get down to the 310 level, or we're going to get into that gap. And I think if we get into that gap, even though it's still fairly large, I wouldn't doubt we get at least most of it, if not fill it. Now, this might all take place in the last couple of days of the week, but I'm going to say we're going to see either 330, 333 to the upside, or at least 310 to the downside. Be in CamelbackTrading.org's trading room, and I'll tell you what, if we get those kind of ranges this week, we'll have a lot of fun trading them as you get up to the second updates on what we are looking to do. Have a great day trading, and we'll recap at 4 p.m.